Hello, everyone. This is Steve Risser, the host of Sports Talk with RKJ, and today I have your Week 8 preview. We'll start with the Thursday night game, which is kind of a revenge game for a couple players, as the Redskins go to Minnesota to face the Vikings tonight. And I know the Vikings are not going to have Adam Thielen in this game, but it's not going to matter for the Vikings. I think they're going to, as we know, this is a revenge game for both teams. Kirk Cousins faces his former team with the Redskins, who didn't give him a long-term deal. You have obviously Adrian Peterson facing his former team with the Vikings, and also Case Keenum facing his former team with the Vikings, who he led to the NFC Championship game 2 years ago. So this should be, but for this game, this should be a blowout. I think that Dalvin Cook has a huge game on the ground. I think Kirk Cousins continues to stay hot, and I think the Vikings defense contains Adrian Peterson, gets pressure on Case Keenum, and I think this is a long night for the Redskins. And this will probably be the final game that I think Case Keenum starts. I think after this week, I think finally, now that this game's on national television and they're probably going to get blown out, they'll finally end up going to Dwayne Haskins for the rest of the season. And I got the Vikings winning in a blowout tonight, 31-13 over the Redskins. The 2-5 Broncos traveled to Indianapolis to face the 4-3 Colts. And in this game, the Colts should win by a couple scores. I think the Colts are going to be able to run the ball with Marlon Mack. I think Jacoby Brissett, who had a huge game last week, is going to have another really, really big game this week, because I think that the Colts offensive line is going to be able to contain Von Miller. And I think on the other side of the ball, I think that the Colts are going to be able to get pressure on Joe Flacco with Jabal Sheard and with D'Amico Autry, and they're going to be able to stop the run because they had Darius Leonard back, and he had a really good game last week as well. So I think the Colts win big, 34-17 over the Broncos. And at this point, Andrew Luck is probably wishing he didn't retire, because this would be the best roster he would have ever had in his career. The 2-5 Giants head to Detroit to face the 2-3-1 Lions. Both teams are on 3-game losing streaks, so something has to give in this game. And I think that this is a really close competitive game, but I think at the end of the day, the way Matthew Stafford is playing, yes, the Lions are on a 3-game losing streak, but Matthew Stafford has played well. I think that the Lions win this game, and I think the Lions win it by a touchdown. I think on offense, the Giants will have success running the ball. I think this will be a game where Saquon Barkley, if he's healthy, goes for over 100 yards. I think Daniel Jones will have his best game that he had since his first game against Tampa. But I think defensively, even though the Lions don't have Kerryon Johnson, I think Matthew Stafford has a huge day against this Giants defense, and I think the Lions win this game, and I think the Lions win it close. I got the Lions 31-24 over the Giants. The Bengals and Rams play in London this week, and this game should be a complete blowout. I think the Bengals are really, really bad. I think their offensive line is terrible. I think Andy Dalton has played really poorly this year, and they've been without A.J. Green. I think this is going to be a big day for Aaron Donald and Dante Fowler. I think Jared Goff has another good game this week. I think the Rams even have success running the ball this week with Todd Gurley and Dontrell Henderson. I think this is the game the Rams win big in London. I'm going 28-10 Rams over the Bengals in London. The Seahawks travel down to Atlanta to face the Falcons this week, and this game should be another blowout. The Atlanta Falcons, especially on the defensive side of the ball, have completely quit on Dan Quinn. There's a good chance that Matt Ryan might not play in this game either. I think on offense, the Seahawks they'll do whatever they want with the ball. I think Russell Wilson will have a huge game. I think Chris Carson will have a huge game on the ground, and this score I'm predicting is, if Matt Ryan plays, I'm going to say 34-17 Seahawks, but it could be worse. It definitely is going to be worse if Matt Ryan doesn't play. And this will probably be Dan Quinn's last game as the Falcons head coach. They have a bye week next week. This team has completely quit on him, especially on the defensive side of the ball. So I got the Seahawks 34-17, and this will Seahawks winning 34-17, and this will be the last game that Dan Quinn coaches as Atlanta Falcons head coach. We got a matchup of two struggling teams in Chicago as the Chargers head to Chicago to face the Bears. And here's the thing about these two teams. Both of them don't run the ball well. Both have had trouble protecting their quarterbacks. The Chargers' offensive line has been a complete mess. The Chargers have had trouble stopping the run too. And I think in this game, I think that Khalil Mack, because Russell Okung is out, so Khalil Mack is going to have a huge day getting pressure on Phillip Rivers, him and Leonard Floyd. I don't think that the Chargers get the run game going at all. I think that the Bears get a little bit of a run game going, and Mitch Trubisky makes enough plays, and the Bears get maybe one defensive touchdown to win this game a squeaker. But it's going to be an ugly game. It's going to be a low-scoring game. But I got the Bears going to 4-3 and winning this game in a squeaker. I got the Bears. Yes, I'm still high on the Bears. I know Jace Garcia. I'll admit the Bears aren't a Super Bowl team, or even a playoff team, but I'll admit they'll win this week. And I got the Bears beating the Chargers 21-16 this week. The Cardinals head to the Superdome to face the Saints. And in this game, I think the Saints are going to 6-0 with Teddy Bridgewater. The Saints, ever since week 3 of 2017, have really found an identity. They found an identity of running the football. The last years was with Mark Ingram and Alvin Kamara. This year is with Latavius Murray and Alvin Kamara. And that continues on Sunday because the Cardinals really struggle to stop the run. I think that the Saints run the ball all over the Cardinals. I think that helps Teddy Bridgewater off play action. I think Michael Thomas is a big game. And on defense, I think their defensive line with Cameron Jordan has a huge day getting pressure on Kyler Murray. I don't think the Cardinals get the run game going. I got the Saints winning this one by 2 scores and going to 7-1 and 6-0 with Teddy Bridgewater as the starter. I got them winning 31-17 over the Cardinals. A very interesting game in Buffalo as the Eagles travel to Buffalo to face the Bills. Yes, the Bills are 5-0, but I think they're one of the biggest frauds in the league. I don't think they're definitely not as good as their record, but I think they're good enough to beat the Eagles the way the Eagles are playing right now. The Eagles got embarrassed on Sunday night to the Cowboys, and they're having issues in their locker room. Alshon Jeffrey called out Carson Wentz before the game last week. I think there's a lot of issues in that Eagles locker room. They may have to make a move there, maybe get rid of Alshon Jeffrey, because I don't know if Alshon Jeffrey and Carson Wentz can exist anymore. And I think for the game, I think that the Bills defensively, I think they contain the Eagles running game. I think they get pressure on Carson Wentz. Wentz makes some plays, but not enough. And I think for how poor the Eagles back seven is, I think the Bills have a little bit of success running the ball with Frank Gore and Devin Singletary. And I think Josh Allen has a pretty good game through the air, getting the ball to Cole Beasley and getting the ball to John Brown. And I got the Bills winning this, and I got the Bills winning in a close one. I got the Bills winning 24-20 over the Eagles. I went back and forth with this game too as the Jets head to Jacksonville to face the Jaguars. And yes, I think Sam Darnold is going to be under pressure and is going to struggle, but he definitely won't struggle anywhere near the way he struggled last week. I think Le'Veon Bell does enough on the ground. But the issue is, how are the Jets defense going to contain some of Jacksonville's skill guys who are improved this year? DJ Shark is one of the most improved receivers in the league. Leonard Fournette's back. He's having a great year for the Jaguars. Gardner Minshew has been an upgrade over Blake Bortles. And I think that this is another really, really close competitive game. But in the end, I think the difference is going to be that DJ Shark's going to make plays. Fournette's going to have a pretty good game on the ground. And I think the Jaguars end up winning it. And I got the Jaguars winning in a really close game, 23-20 over the Jets. The Buccaneers head to Tennessee to face the Titans, and this is going to be my upset of the week. I think that with the way Tampa Bay's secondary is absolutely terrible, but the one strength of Tampa Bay is they could really stop the run with the Ndamukong Suh, with Vita Vea, with Levante Davis. Tampa Bay does a really good job stopping the run, and I think that continues this week, and I think they completely shut down Derrick Henry, force Ryan Tannehill to be one-dimensional, and I think on the offensive side of the ball that Jameis Winston makes enough plays, getting the ball to Chris Godwin, getting the ball to Mike Evans. They get a little bit of a running game going with Ronald Jones and Peyton Barber, and I think they pull the upset in Tennessee. I think this is another really, really close game, but I'm going to go with this would have been a matchup of two number one picks in the 2000. A matchup of the number one and number two pick in the 2015 NFL draft, but Mariota's bench. But in this game, I'm going to go with the Bucs on the road to upset the Titans. I'm going Bucs 20-17 to upset the Titans. We'll go to the 4 o'clock games now, and we got the paper champions with the Cleveland Browns going up against the defending world champions with the New England Patriots. And I think this game is going to be a little bit closer than people think, especially for the first half, because the Browns match up there's one area where the Browns match up really well with the Patriots, and it's their pass rushers against the Patriots defensive tackles. I think that Myles Garrett is going to have a really, really, really big first half getting a Tom Brady, and I think with the way the Patriots have struggled to run the ball, I think the Patriots are going to have trouble scoring early in this game. But in the second half, I think Belichick's going to make adjustments, and eventually the Patriots are going to get their offense going. And on the other side of the ball, I think that the Patriots defense is going to completely confuse Baker Mayfield. They're going to shut down Nick Chubb, and I think the Browns are going to have a rough day on offense. And I got the Patriots winning this game. I got the Patriots winning by a couple scores. I got the Patriots beating the Browns this week, 27-13 in New England. We got the Raiders traveling to Houston to face the Texans, and the way that the Raiders have had the most success on offense so far, running the ball with their rookie Josh Jacobs, but Houston does a really good job stopping the run. They're top 5 in the league stopping the run, and I think they do that this week. Force Derek Carr to be one-dimensional, where he'll make a couple mistakes. He'll make some plays, get the ball to Darren Waller, but I think on the defensive side of the ball, there's no way this Raiders defense is stopping Deshaun Watson. I think Deshaun Watson has a huge game. I think they don't get that much pressure, even though the Texans have a really bad offensive line. I don't think they get that much pressure on him. I think that the Raiders secondary is terrible, and Jackson is going to exploit that with DeAndre Hopkins. And I think that the Texans are going to win. I think they're going to win by a couple scores. I got the Texans beating the Raiders 34-20 this week. We got a really, really big game in San Fran this week as the 4-2 Carolina Panthers with Kyle Allen. They haven't lost a game with Kyle Allen yet. Face the undefeated San Francisco 49ers. And my take on this game is I think that the 49ers are going to have a couple of their tackles out, Mike McGlinchey and Joe Staley. That's going to hurt a little bit, but I think this run game is still going to succeed. I think the Panthers, ever since they lost K'Wan Short, have not been great against the run. Yes, very good linebackers with Luke Kuechly and Shaq Thompson, but ever since they've lost K'Wan Short, they've struggled against the run. I think the 49ers have their way in the ground, go for over 100 yards on the ground, and Garoppolo makes enough plays to put them in position to win. And I think on the other side of the ball, yes, I think Christian McCaffrey has a really good game. I think the 49ers are a top 5 defense, but the one weakness with the 49er defense is their linebacking core. And I think that the Panthers exploit that a little bit this week, getting the ball to McCaffrey in the screen game, McCaffrey getting some rushing yards. But at the end of the day, I just think Jimmy Garoppolo makes enough more plays than Kyle Allen. And I think in a close game, I think the 49ers go to 7-0 and win 23-17 over the Panthers. We got the Sunday night game with the Packers and Chiefs. This is kind of a letdown. Not for Jace Garcia, though, because he was watching right now. He still thinks that the Chiefs are going to pull the upset over the Packers. But in a way, but this still is definitely kind of a letdown because we thought we were going to see probably the two best quarterbacks in the league for the two best quarterbacks in the league with Aaron Rodgers and Patrick Mahomes. But yes, Patrick Mahomes hasn't been completely ruled out, but he's probably not going to play. And I think that the Packers are going to do whatever they want on offense against the Chiefs. I think this defense has a lot of issues stopping the run. I think Aaron Jones has a big game. I think Aaron Rodgers has a big game. Him and Matt LaFleur are really starting to click offensively, and you saw that last week against the Raiders. And I think on the offensive side for the Chiefs, I think that Andy Reid schemes out some stuff for Matt Moore where they move the ball, but they end up kicking field goals and not get touchdowns. And I think at the end of the day that's going to definitely come back to hurt the Chiefs. And on Sunday night, I got the Packers winning by 2 scores. I got the Packers beating the Chiefs 31-16 this week. We'll wrap up the show talking about the Monday night game, and we got the 0-6 Dolphins traveling to Pittsburgh to face the 2-4 Steelers. And I think in this game the Steelers win. I think the Steelers win pretty handedly. I think James Conner has success on the ground. I think Mason Rudolph has a good game. I think the Dolphins struggle to get the run game going. I think Pittsburgh stops that. I think they get pressure on Ryan Fitzpatrick. It's a very rough day for him. And I think the Steelers go to 3-4 and win this game 20-7-10 on Monday night. That's going to wrap it up for our Week 8 preview. We want to thank everyone who listened and watched on Facebook Live, especially Jace Garcia again. We saw him commenting, and we saw him commenting. We want to thank everybody who joined us on Facebook Live. We'll be back next week with the regular Sports Talk with RKJ show where we'll discuss Week 8, Week 9 of the NFL season, Week 10 of the college football season, the end of the World Series, and talk NBA. And I'll also have my Week 9 preview in the NFL, and also have my NBA preview next week. So I want to thank everybody who joined us on Facebook this morning, and have a great weekend, everybody.